It's time for Everything Noob, your source for all things gaming.
And welcome to another episode of the Everything Noob podcast. Episode 89, I'm Vortac, joined this evening by...
Dreadlow.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Glad to hear it. So lots of gaming news. Jemmy will not be joining us this evening, but next week, she will be here. In studio.
In the Vortac Studios.
Yeah, exactly.
In Las Vegas, Nevada. No, I was kidding.
No.
Beverly Hills, California.
No. North Carolina, actually.
There goes the pump up for your studio.
Exactly. Nothing spectacular going on here. But yes, so she'll be here next week if all goes according to plan anyway. And I still have to set up all my equipment to make sure I can host two people in the same spot because the way I was going to do it originally isn't going to work. So it's
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and then you're just going to be like a Skype caller to us.
It's good practice though, see? So you never know when we're all going to come together one time.
Yeah.
Never know.
I thought it'd be cool for maybe like, and this is no announcement, so don't nobody freak out or anything, but I thought it'd be really cool for episode 100 if like we all somehow managed to get in the same spot.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. That's coming up. We're 11 episodes away from that.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be a financial stretch for me.
Yeah. Oh, so lots of gaming drama going on, man. This is
tons all the time.
This one hits close to home for a lot of people, I think, including you.
Yeah.
But the Yogventures, a very ambitious gaming project, has been completely canceled. They've scrapped development. The game studio working on it is going bankrupt, most likely, and it's a big disappointment to many people who kickstarted it.
And like me.
Like you.
Like me. I think I'm not sure what the tier was, but it was between $15 and $20 is what I gave for this game. And it's utterly nothing. It's just you running around. There's trees, that's about it. Hills, and you can throw bombs and roll them around. That's it.
There was a playable demo for people who backed it then.
Yeah, there was they would come out with updates, and at first it was very like blocky voxels, like in Minecraft. And then they said, but that's going to change. They're going to soften the terrain, and it looked like it was really progressing. It looked like it was going somewhere. I mean, things started to really pan out for them. They were coming out with so you can make your character look, colorize your beard and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden there was no updates. And then once in a blue moon, you'll see them say, "Oh, we're sorry. We had to put a few things on back burner. We're going to come out with an update soon." And then a little tiny update would come up, and then there'll be a long wait for another update. And it just wasn't being updated enough. And like this goes back a couple years,
Yeah. I've heard about this project like a long time ago because the Yogscast, we talked about them, I think, when Minecon happened, and there was some drama there. And then I think that's when I remember this game being talked about a lot, just sometime after Minecon. And they were really talking about how it's going to be the next big thing, the next Minecraft, this and that, very ambitious project. I personally didn't back it. I at the time was like, I'll just see it when it comes out. I don't really, Kickstarter projects are kind of hit and miss, and obviously this was one that no one really expected to be a miss, but it was. They raised $570,000 though. Over $500,000 was raised.
Wow.
But you take that money and you give it to a 6-man team, I guess Wintercool Studio or Wintercool Games, and they couldn't pull it off. And there's a lot of like the article that was written about it that we'll be linking in the show notes was very opinionated, but it still kind of gives a good take on the story. And it talked about how the game developer Wintercool said, we just kept falling short, deadline after deadline, we just kept falling short. And they didn't like the quality. They didn't want to promote the game because they didn't like what they were seeing yet. So they didn't get any pre-order funding, which is kind of what these emails lead me to believe. But with $500,000, I don't know what they need. Although I'm not a game developer.
Well, it is interesting though, because I was part of the Yogs. I mean, I was on the Yogscast forums. You know, I signed up and everything, and I think I even made a donation once for like a 30-day premium, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was totally into the Yogscast back then, and it was interesting because they kind of stopped talking about the Winter Cool game. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm going, well, why don't they talk about it? Well, this is the reason why. Obviously, they didn't feel it was a strong enough game to promote on their forums and on their websites and in their videos and stuff. So they stopped basically promoting it. And in a sense, I'm thinking that might be the reason why it got hurt.
See, that's what I was going to say. It's a really bad business strategy. If you don't believe in your own project, like, these are the people developing it, but you still have all creative rights to it, I'd imagine. It's named after you, and they're making it because you exist. So you can still go in there and say, hey, this isn't what we want to see. Instead, do this. And maybe they did that. But if you're not going to promote it and get people excited about it 24/7, the internet's going to forget about it and move on. I mean,
I don't know. What is this thing with Yogscast? I mean, they had a big spiel over Minecraft for a while there.
Yeah.
It just seems like they got big heads.
That's what I'm thinking. Every time I see something like this, I have to wonder if it's just a case of big-headedness coming in. Because I'm seeing like, okay, well, they didn't like where it was going, so they didn't want to make videos and promote it. And a great example of this that just happened, just this week, Weird Al came out with a new album. And he said that he was going to release 8 new music videos in 8 days, which today was marked the last one of his music videos. And the reason behind it was because he knows that everything on the internet only lasts a little bit. You get viral, a few days, people are talking about you like crazy, and then we move on. So he said, why not take that and just stretch it out over a week and really make a hype about it? And that's what you have to do these days if you want to really get people talking. And now everyone I know understands that Weird Al came out with a new album. When the last time he came out with a new album, it wasn't nearly as hyped as his new album that just came out. So I'm just using that as an example. You need to constantly remind people that this is happening. This is a thing, especially because you raised $500,000 kickstarting it. You have to be on that. Whether it looks like crap or not, you say, hey, unfortunately there's a delay, but this is going to happen. We just need your support. Always be supporting the game, and this can happen. How is a game studio supposed to stay motivated if they're not even, if the people behind it aren't even with it anymore?
Yeah, it's sad, but there is good news. For those who did back it.
Such good news. I bet you're pissed about this too.
Yeah, because I already got it.
You already had. So I guess this game called Tug, we talked about it a little bit, and you've played it. The
unnamed game is basically what Tug stands for.
Yes. It's supposed to be, they made a game that the Yogventures was kind of supposed to be like. It's the most comparable game they could think of. And what makes me laugh is one of their excuses for shutting this down was that the game was too ambitious. And then they compare it to a game that already came out.
What's up with that?
Like, how ambitious are we talking?
That's funny. But Tug is pretty cool though. It's crafting in this game is not like your typical crafting where a menu pops up and you put things together and craft it, right? Or you have the materials and you open up this window and look for what you want to craft and hit the craft button and it crafts. It's not like that. What you do is you collect your stuff and you throw it on the ground. Literally throw it on the ground. And when you throw it on the ground, you hit the craft button and it will combine all those items on the ground into the item that you need. That's how you craft.
That's kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes with what to craft though. You have to kind of like look on a wiki or something to find out what the crafting recipe is.
Exactly.
But it's pretty neat game, and it's fairly new in development, and so it keeps getting updated quite a bit. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, if I get a Steam key, that means we might be able to give it away here, right?
I would say so.
I haven't got an email yet, but yeah, maybe we'll give it away one time on the show here.
Yeah, that was their big thing to this whole thing. That was their good news piece. They said, "Well, we don't have to do anything for you guys who kickstarted it. However, we're going to."
Huh?
Yeah, that's what they said. Well, we're not obligated.
I paid for it.
Yeah, we're not obligated to do anything now that our Kickstarter's failed, but we're gonna do something for you because we're super cool guys. And they're giving everyone who backed it a copy of Tug.
Oh wait, did their Kickstarter fail?
No, I guess not. I'm just paraphrasing. It didn't fail.
Oh, okay.
It just the Kickstarter went through. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. The Kickstarter went through. The game failed.
Right.
And it won't be happening anymore. So that was their good news, everybody. Sorry, I can't do a very good Professor Farnsworth impression.
That's funny.
I didn't even try. So there's your gaming drama. Even though I wasn't really behind this game, I'm still kind of disappointed because I know a lot of people were excited about this game, especially in the Minecraft community.
There was a lot of kids who were, because this is a very cartoony game, so who knows how many parents put up for that Kickstarter.
Ugh. I guess luckily it happened so long ago that if you probably backed it by like $10 to $15, you've kind of forgotten because it was so damn long ago now.
Yeah, we've already claimed it as a loss on our tax. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, 5 people donated $10,000 to that Kickstarter.
Wow.
5 different people gave them $10,000.
That's insane.
And they get a copy of Tug, which they probably bought when they saw it because obviously they like games like this.
Right. I'm wondering if a lot of people did that.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame. So yeah, no word on refunds
Tug
yet,
really
if at all.
Tug just kind of has the look like. Well, actually, it's even a little better than that. But I don't know, unless that was what they were trying to make the game. They were trying to make it like Tug. Then I can see that, but I don't know how similar it was to Yogventures. The Yogventures I got now is nothing like any game I've ever played because it's not really a game.
It's like Cliff Horse.
Yes. It's Cliff Horse.
Yes. Without a horse, just a character. If you don't know about Cliff Horse, go look that up. It's Notch's, it's Notch's new game. The creator of Minecraft made a new game called Cliff Horse.
He did. And he wants it.
Please lower your expectations.
He wants to put it on Kickstarter, and of course he's joking, but no, but he's really like made this thing out to be a big thing when it's really just a joke. Anyway, on to something new here. No,
yeah. Well, while we're on the topic of drama, there's another thing that kind of cropped up. This was just a really cool post. I'd recommend if you're someone who just likes reading really well articulated rants and blogs, please visit our show notes and check this out because it couldn't be said better. But it came out, the GameStop CEO kind of hinted that GameStop is going to be getting into the development, like directly involved with development of games. But not the creative side, just involved. And what this blogger was kind of saying was this means that all of that content, when a new game is about to come out and GameStop has those commercials, pre-order from us and you'll get, a special horse or something in the game.
Right.
Well, the fear,
they used to have those little deals, but then Walmart did too.
Yeah.
So.
The fear is that now that GameStop is getting involved with development, it's going to make those exclusive titles or exclusive DLC, add-ons rather, even more exclusive. Now you not only can you not get these later, you can only get them if you got the game from GameStop. Is kind of what the fear is.
Right.
So let's say that game you just talked about, like that came out at Walmart too. Walmart had a DLC. Maybe it's not the same. Well, later on, that DLC usually comes out as a purchasable thing just on the Xbox Marketplace or whatever. And what the fear is now is that's going to be 100% exclusive GameStop content. So you can't, you feel like you're missing a piece of the game if you don't get it from GameStop.
Yeah, That's not good.
It's a prediction. We don't know if that's going to be the case. But what else could it mean? GameStop is in the business of
How are they?
making money.
Yeah, how are they actually going to be involved with developers if it's not actually, or with developing of the actual development? So if it's not actually making the game or being creative in some aspect to creating the game, but what else could it be?
I don't know. Stuff like that's kind of scary. I mean, around the place I moved, GameStop is the only place in town to buy used games. Like, they've cornered the market here. Where I used to live, there was 3 different game stores, including GameStop, and one of them went out of business. So it's just the 2 now, like the family-owned one and GameStop. And here, there's no family-owned game storage, just GameStop. That's my only option if I want to buy like a console game used or something.
Well, remember there was a war between Walmart and GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
That was the supposed thing. It's kind of like but yeah, maybe this is them attacking back. Okay, we'll do this. We'll have exclusive content, so they'll buy the games from us rather than from you.
Yeah.
And Walmart, I don't know. I haven't seen games with exclusive Walmart content in them for a long time, but they used to do that. There was games that you can get that had exclusive items if you bought it from Walmart. If you remember, there was some. I think The Sims had something, and so there was a lot of games that if you bought it from Walmart, you got exclusive items for the game. But they stopped doing that. I hadn't seen anything new yet come of that. So I'm wondering if that might be what GameStop is going to do to thwart this used game thing from Walmart.
Maybe it could be. It's just kind of, I don't know. Companies like this is why people like start to really hate corporations and stuff, because of once a corporation kind of comes out on top, they take full advantage. I remember when there was a big game store near me called EB Games, and as far as I know, they were a really well-known chain around here called EB Games, and they were bought out by GameStop eventually. So my local EB Games became a GameStop where there wasn't the GameStop that was around was like really close by. So there was like 2 GameStops for a while. And they just kind of monopolized it. And this is just what happens with big companies. But yeah, I think the end of the article, I don't know, they just talked about how the guy was like, I can't convince everybody to not purchase things from GameStop, but I know I'm definitely done. And that kind of made me think, people got to vote with their dollar. That's the only way stuff like this is going to stop, is if you don't buy things from GameStop. And luckily today, it's so easy to avoid it. Just don't get sucked into those weird deals. Like, you're not going to miss out on gameplay because you didn't buy it at GameStop. You're going to miss out on like a thing in the game. And how long are you even playing this game? Let's say you beat Assassin's Creed 4, you do all the extra stuff, and you bought it from GameStop, so you've got some extra multiplayer character or something. And then what? Then you're going to move on to another game.
Until the next Assassin's Creed comes out,
Yeah. Well, on the flip side, if it really doesn't matter, then who cares if you buy it from GameStop or you digitally download it? So I don't know. On one hand, either you can't complain about it if that's your mindset, or on the other, don't buy it from GameStop and miss out on whatever crazy exclusive thing. So
yeah.
There you go. There's your gaming drama news. There's probably a lot more, but I actually wanted to introduce a new segment to the show. I think this will be kind of fun. So, Dreadlow's like, no, it won't, because it means more work for me. But every day there is a date that goes by in history that something happens, and gaming is no exception. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we kind of covered that in a segment I wanted to call This Week in Gaming History. I even have a soundbite for it.
Yeah.
Yay, This Week in Gaming History. I didn't want to call it this day because gaming history doesn't really stretch back as far as
that would be insane. I mean, I don't even want to get into it. Because not everything is made. It seems like, for some reason, as we were doing the research for this, it seems like July is Japan's month for releasing games, it seemed like. Because that's all we saw.
Exactly.
It seemed like this was Japan's month for releasing games in Japan. So, yeah, it was kind of hard hard to find something that was U.S. related for this week, but I think we got some.
We got some cool stuff. I think it's pretty cool anyway. I relate to some of it. But the segment is going to cover everything from 1999 and back. So anything 2000 and up is not in this segment. There's a couple really cool things that happened around this week too. I know StarCraft came out around this time, StarCraft 2, but that doesn't really count. We're talking about history. So gaming history from 1999 and back. We're going to cover the whole week from the day we're recording this podcast up until the next show. So we're recording this on Monday. Yeah. So this is going to be between this Monday and next Monday, and that's how the segment's going to go. So there you go. There's your little explanation about the segment. And what is first on the list?
Or are you talking about on the list we have?
Yes.
Or,
well, obviously, there's a giant list of things, but the first thing that we thought was worth adding to the list.
What, the creatures?
No. Well, you didn't write that down.
No.
This is
you're talking about Star Trek.
This segment's in beta.
I was wondering, are you talking about the list that we... Okay, then there's the Star Trek for Commodore 64.
Yes. Which must have been a compelling, a very crazy game. Star Trek for the Commodore 64.
That has been a lot of fun, I tell you that.
July 23rd, 1978.
And a lot of these kind of games were like text-based, so there wasn't a whole lot of graphics. So I can imagine that that must have been an interesting game to play. I remember there was a game called, well, you probably heard of it, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They made a movie about it. There was a book series.
I tried to read the book, but I wasn't a big reader, ever. So
I don't know if the game came first or the book came first, but all I know is there was a game like that. It was text based, and you move by typing in N for north, and then you move up, and the game tells you what you see, and then you have to read it, and you have to. I'm guessing that's what this is because 1978 is pretty darn early. I mean, Commodore 64 was fairly new back then.
Yeah.
They had the Commodore VIC-20 before then, I think, and it was 64 means that it's 64-bit colors. They introduced color to it because the Commodore VIC-20 was black and white, and even then there wasn't a whole lot of graphical games. I mean, the closest you could get to something that was graphical would be kind of like Pong, or you'd have, it was crazy. So if it was graphical, I don't know. We could probably look it up on somebody's done it on YouTube, I bet. But looks like it would have been a fun game back then.
Yeah. So there you
go. How old was I? Should I say how old I was?
You can. You're a little bit older than us, so that's why this is kind of
12 years old.
You're 12. Wow. Dang. Yeah, so this is why this is your segment, because you can relate to it a little bit better than I can.
Oh, yeah. So back then, this would have been like the tits.
Yeah. Oh. You're just trying to make me play the clip.
Yeah.
It's the tits.
There you go.
That's right. So, yeah.
All right, so next up on the list. What?
I don't know. I didn't look into this game, so I don't know much about it. But Star Trek back then was the hot topic. Even it's funny how Star Trek has how it's evolved and how it's continued to stay popular, and they've actually got a whole groupie, a bunch of groupies that like follow. Not really groupies. It's like a cult, of Star Trek fans. They're called Trekkies, and so this must have been a hot game back then for a lot of people.
Must have been pretty cool. So, I probably would have. My brain would have exploded, honestly. But nowadays, you take someone from that time and put them today, they would just die. They wouldn't know what to do. Anyway, so Dr. Mario for the NES came out in July 27th, 1990 in Japan.
Dr. Mario, that was like a Tetris kind of clone-ish thing, right?
Yeah. But people still really liked it for some reason.
It was little pills that would drop, and you'd match colors and different. It was weird. And little amoebas, or what were they? Like viruses would come in and mess with you, trying to, complete that level.
I never.
It was weird.
Again,
It dropped down just like in Tetris, and then you have to put them all together.
kind of like Bejeweled a little bit, or
Maybe, but it was closer to Tetris, I think,
all right.
than it was anything else. Yeah. So, but they were like pills instead of weird puzzle pieces. It was an interesting game. It was weird. I don't know. But yeah, released in 1990. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday to me.
I was 1.
I remember trying it. I didn't like it because I didn't like Tetris. So, I mean, I was a teenager. No, I was a little older. But those kind of games didn't interest me. It's funny that those kind of games are the most popular right now, especially for phones.
Exactly.
For
We're going
iPhones,
full
like that.
circle. I mean, phones are getting bigger, games are getting older.
Yeah.
Especially
so then we
indie
got
games. It's awesome.
It's crazy.
Next up on the list?
Mech Warrior 2?
Yes. I cannot believe you've never played this game.
I played Mech Warrior, which was the first one, which was terrible.
Okay. Mech Warrior 2 was like my childhood. Mostly
That was
'cause
probably
my dad played it.
That's when they really started doing the better graphics and stuff, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
Back then it was like wireframe.
Yeah.
Mech Warrior was like wireframe.
I vividly remember really, really good graphics, which means it was probably awful because it was 1995.
Yeah.
July 24th, 1995, Mech Warrior 2 comes out. It's actually published by Activision, who they're still going. It was a first-person mech shooter.
Right.
So the way it worked is you would be sitting in a mech. You could use a joystick, which my dad had. I'd always play. I'd be using the joystick, and you could just walk around in a mech and shoot
Shooting
other
tanks
mechs.
Yeah.
It was
and
awesome.
mechs.
Exactly. So Mech Warrior 2 came out, and that was such a cool game. It was awesome.
1995.
Yeah.
Yep. And now we have what's the new that new game that they have right
Titanfall?
now? Yeah.
I was hoping it would be like Mech Warrior, and it's not. It's
not,
really
though?
awesome, but no, because Titanfall works in a way where once you jump in your Titan, you're kind of all your controls are the same, but now you're just a bigger character rather than it doesn't feel like you're driving anything. It just feels like you're a giant walking around rather than a little human.
I see.
So it didn't have the same feel. It was still really cool. Titanfall's awesome, but still not the same.
But it's interesting. This game, Mech Warrior, was kind of a new concept back then, right?
Yeah.
Well, Mech Warrior, the first Mech Warrior. And then here, nobody has come up with, it's so funny because nobody really has come up with any Mech Warrior type games since then. And then all of a sudden, now we got Titanfall, and I don't remember any. There might have been, but that was the only. When I see robots fighting other robots, I think Mech Warrior automatically. There's no other game I can think of that's like that, and then until now Titanfall. So yeah, I mean it was a genre all on its own, I guess.
Yeah. Still really cool.
Yeah. Those
And then next up, you know more about this than I do.
Creatures. Yeah.
Yes.
See, Creatures was from 1997. July. When was that? July 24th, 1997.
All right.
Now, there have been games before then that were simulations and simulators that were before 1997. There was the little computer people for the Commodore, and then there was some other games, Sim City, but that's more of cities. This is more of a creatures type thing, like a virtual pet type thing, where you have to teach it to do things. You have to teach it how to speak because it speaks, and you have to point to things and say, this is a tree, and then he'll say tree, and then he'll say tree, and then tree, and go back and forth until he learns that that's a tree, and teach him that fire's bad and things like that. So it's a really cool little simulator, and it was from 1997. Now, what they're saying is that this actually was because it was such a big franchise, back then, this was where we've got The Sims, where we've got Spore, where we've got all these other simulator games was from this. I guess the company was called Creatures Labs. So the Creature Labs. So it was kind of like it was a simulation game that was to teach people how to, basically breed and grow and help survive little creatures that you create. And so I don't know. I thought that was kind of neat because it was very significant for our time today because it really opened up a genre of simulator games for us, for the like human genetics and things like that. Something genetic that has to do with genes and evolving creatures into whatever you evolve them in. That's where we got Spore, but Spore is a different story because that right there would have been a very successful game, I think.
Back in the day.
But I think what they did is they kind of screwed it up. I think they started introducing the expansion packs and things like that. It was overbearing for somebody. It was just too much back then. Maybe it might succeed today if they were to bring that back out, and because The Sims did, with their expansion packs, it kind of went places. But Spore for some reason just didn't pick up.
See,
it did for a while, and then it just...
Spore, I feel like, got popular way after it came out. Because I remember when Spore came out, and it was on shelves, and people were playing it a little bit, but no one was really, really into it. And then maybe not even a year ago, I saw all kinds of like live streams going. Like Spore just kind of blew up. I think maybe some popular YouTuber found it and played it or something, and then everyone was playing it for a bit. So I think Spore kind of got popular much later, aged like a fine wine, and
Yeah.
I know it was like a really cool concept, but yeah. So.
It was totally. I know that it didn't do too well for a while there.
Yeah.
It might have picked up.
Which is a shame because usually games like that, like once a game doesn't do well, the studio kind of disappears, and then the game will do well, and then they're like, well, crap.
Well, like with this game, for instance, that's a great example. It had Creatures 1, Creatures 2, and Creatures 3 by the same company. And then several years later, I'm talking, several years later.
Yeah.
The developer no longer exists, and so another developer decided to pick it up and created Creatures 4, which was a Facebook-based kind of game.
Oh.
Like
it's not even
those
a game.
Games by Big Fish Games or those different games that are linked up with Facebook. And so Creatures 4, which was Creatures Online, is all kind of like a Farmville type thing. And I didn't really want to mention that.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
Kind of have to because you brought up the interesting point where, But Creatures 1, Creatures 2, and Creatures 3 are old games that, from the beginning were strictly... Actually, for the Commodore 64 was the first Creatures game. Started out for the Commodore 64.
What year?
And then... Well, the PC version is 1997.
Well, okay, so I don't understand. The PC version 1997, but Commodore 64 it's way older than that. So the first Creatures came out.
I don't have the actual date for the but it was completely different. I don't think it was. Yeah, they basically remade the game because a Commodore 64 would not have the capability to.
No, definitely.
If you go on YouTube and you watch the video, watch a YouTube video of somebody playing Creatures, there's no way that this ported over from Commodore 64, but the original concept was, it says right here, it's a artificial life game made by Creature Labs for the Commodore 64 game, and then they brought it into PC. So they had to have recreated it or recoded it because Yeah,
Either way,
it wouldn't look the same.
if you're a
Because the graphics
connoisseur-
are really, really nice. They're really cool. So I'm thinking on actually downloading this.
if you're a connoisseur of old games, definitely go check that one out. Usually games like that you can probably pick up for free, but I don't know.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know.
Anyway,
I think somehow the company that made Creatures 4 somehow bought all the rights to the games. You might be able to buy them off of their website. I'm not sure. Just Google Creatures 4 and you'll probably find out where to get all the other creatures. If they haven't Facebooked them as well.
ugh, Facebook. Anyhow, there you go. This week in gaming history. Yay.
This the whole concept of this week in gaming history is going to evolve, and eventually we'll be on top of it. It'll be a good. I think this is going to become a pretty good segment.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be a lot
look
of fun.
forward to more. Look forward to more.
Yeah. It'll be a fun segment. We're just kind of trying it out. So
Yeah.
let us know what you think. You can always write us, everythingnoob.com. Hit the contact us button. You can always let us know what you think when we try something new. And, yeah. Leave your opinions. We'll read them. So,
Yeah.
in other news, The Sims 4 is kind of the talk of the town right now, speaking of like simulation games. And, a lot of people are like, why? We have The Sims 3, everything's cool, but you know how EA is, and, regurgitating old crap. But The Sims 4 looks awesome in some ways. Like, the building features they've added are sick. I love it. You can take an entire room and move it to another part of the house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, furniture and all. You could just take it and move it, which is not something you've ever been able to do. You can raise the foundation. You can change the height of the walls. Things that made it basically impossible to recreate your house in the game. Now it's a lot easier to work with it. So we'll probably be seeing a lot more people being like, this is an exact replica of my house, which is every Sims game kind of gets a little bit closer to that, but falls short in the building aspects. And, maybe there's similar furniture, but not the right kind of style of walls and angles and this and that. But this one seems to have answered a lot of
Yeah, because there's a lot of pre-builds in Sims.
Yeah. I mean, 90% of houses I've ever walked up to in my life are always on a raised foundation where you walk up some steps to get up to the front door. And that's something like the Sims have always struggled with. It's their foundations being, at ground level. And you'd think that's not a big deal, but once you start to like mess with it a bit and try to make your house, and then your driveway's at ground level, but your house is on a raised foundation, everything kind of gets screwed up a little bit, and it just confuses your brain. And I'm sure architects figure it out, but I'm not an architect. I'm just a guy walking around my house going, I think I can make this, and But
right.
Stuff like that's pretty cool. But there's a pretty interesting thing that happened recently. They were doing a video. The people at Maxis were making a video about like how the game works and just some of the, picking on some of those details. And in the video, a screen popped up where, because they were going over how, how in the Sims 3 you can make something for the community to download. And
Right. Yeah, you have all these different. Yeah,
you got to exit the game to download these things, and then you got to turn the game back on. So there's a lot of loading. Well, they've built that into The Sims now, like into The Sims 4. You don't have to exit the game at all. You can just like find a house that someone made and just plop it on your lot, which is awesome.
That's cool.
But while they were
cool.
loading that screen, someone noticed, and it only appeared for like a second, but someone noticed something that said premium service, and it said become a premium member to get access to 3 new packs with exclusive items and so on and so forth. And people are now speculating that similar to Battlefield's premium service, The Sims is going to have some kind of premium service where you can go in and pay extra money to get expansions early, or you pay a little bit now and you get 3 expansions rather than paying $40 a pop when they come out real time. Something like that.
Kind of like season passes or whatever.
Yeah, like a season pass to Borderlands or something, So that's a little bit sketchy because people are already kind of concerned. You have them taking out pools and toddlers, and people are like, why are you taking these features out? We love pools, we love toddlers, why are you taking that out of the game? And some people are like, well, they're going to be an expansion.
They're going to be a premium service.
Yeah. And you don't know. I mean, obviously, this is all speculation. We don't know. We don't even know if the premium service thing is legit. It was just someone kind of pointing it out, and everyone else going, yeah, you're probably right. And I know for sure that The Sims 3, I may have mentioned this before, but when I was playing The Sims 3, there is a menu built into your store. Like, let's say you're playing the game and you're going to buy furniture. There's furniture that has a special symbol on it, and that symbol means you can pay real money to buy it.
Whoa,
You can
okay.
buy it with sim points rather than simoleons. So they're already doing that. So I wouldn't put it past them to add more premium quote-unquote content to the game.
Right. Well, I mean, in the past, they've always had expansions that they sold. Now they're just asking for money before you get the expansions.
Yeah, now they're like mini expansions within the game and then expansion packs to boot.
Yeah.
And that's what makes The Sims 4 to me a little bit scummy and unnecessary. Because scumbag EA is sitting there like, let's monetize the crap out of this next Sims game. You're going to be paying at least $60 to buy this game. And then you're going to have to keep paying things if you want it. Just like we were talking about earlier,
Right.
DLC.
I think just expansion is like, or a DLC for it is like $20.
Yeah. Well, that's like on the low end. I've seen expansions go for $40.
Yeah.
And they add all the stuff to the game that's like elementary things, like pets. Pets are just a thing that we have in life. This shouldn't be a special thing you add to the game.
Well, you had brought that up. You said, well, I've got the Sims 3. I've bought all these expansions. Now, does that mean that when I get Sims 4, I have to buy them all again?
Exactly, and it does.
That's
it always
unfair.
does. With the Sims 1, 2, and 3, it always meant, well, with the Sims 1, obviously, was the Sims 1. But after the Sims 1, every expansion that was in the game, if they were a good-hearted game developer, they would have added them all in the original game. Like, the original game would have been full of that content.
Right. You have expansions for, like, say, Sims 3, and then you see how well they went. You say, well, let's just add them to Sims 4.
Yeah, and they won't
There's
do
no
that
reason.
because people are going to sucker themselves into buying that. And that's why it was so frustrating to stream The Sims 3 because people were like, why don't you have any expansions, man? Because
and then you got
the next one's going to come out soon and I don't need them. Oh, no, you got to get this expansion and that one. I'm like, look, they're all cool, but how much money am I going to spend on The Sims before another one comes out? And they're not even going to keep the expansions I bought. I'm going to have to buy them again. So I was at Walmart and I saw for like, I don't know, some $15-20. There was 2 expansions in one box, and I bought that. And I said, I got 2 expansions, guys, and people were happy with that. And then I got
that's
alone
what I
about
got.
it for a
Next
bit.
Generations and Pets, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, how many times are people going to buy pets? Because it was in The Sims 1, it was in The Sims 2, and it's in The Sims 3.
Yeah.
You can bet your ass it's not going to be in The Sims 4 built in already. You're going to have to buy the pets expansion again for a 4th time.
Yeah, you would think at least by now that would be just a automatically added feature to the game. Just I don't know. Although pets are kind of annoying.
They're incredibly annoying. I've actually gotten it in The Sims 3 to kind of a science. I was having a lot of trouble because my pet was taking care of itself. I got a cat because they generally just take care of themselves. So it ate and it crapped, and I had like an automatic litter box so it would clean itself up. I just had to fill the bowl every couple days, no big deal. But it was always freaking lonely. And it was pissing me off because I'm like, my sim is busy. He's trying to, achieve world domination. I don't have time to take care of this stupid cat. So I got another cat, and I put them both on auto, and they kept each other company. And then problem solved. Now I have 2 cats running around doing whatever they do, and I don't have to pay any attention to them at all. And then I'm thinking, why did I get this stupid expansion pack?
Dumb. They're just running around.
What the hell?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. It was funny, just in chat, a wild Ronix appeared. She's a huge advocate for The Sims. And every time she appears in chat, we're always talking about The Sims, so she's all worked up. Oh, man, that's funny. So,
but that's cool. The features that you talk about, being able to build, build a little bit better. They opened up building a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's
probably... It was a much needed...
That's probably like,
Yeah, we needed that, definitely, in The Sims. We needed better building options. So, man, it's hard because I want to buy it. And I feel like I'm justified in buying The Sims 4 because I actually save money by not buying all the expansions for Sims 3. And I want to play
Yeah.
it. It looks fun. But, you know, there you go, though. The Sims 4. Get it at your own risk. Don't get suckered into expansion packs. Get the ones you really want.
Right.
That's the best way to do it. Don't feel like you have to get all of them as they release, because I know a
Watch
lot of people who do
YouTube
that.
videos. That's what I do.
Exactly. Some YouTuber's going to waste their money on it, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
Take it from a YouTuber. We spend our money, so you don't have to. Oh man! So this week's Indie Spotlight.
Speaking of building,
I don't have a little fun sound clip for Indie Spotlight yet, but
we'll have to get one.
I'll have to get one. Maybe I'll just use this one. Nah, I don't even like using it because we already used it.
Yeah, that fits better with the history.
Yeah.
But
Indie
yeah.
Spotlight, Planet Explorers, $24.99 on Steam. They're currently in alpha. Open world sandbox game. We haven't seen any of those before. You can change the... No, it's really an awesome game. I'm just giving you crap. You can change the terrain, create weapons, vehicles, and other objects. But Dreadlow's actually played it, so I'm going to turn this one over to him.
Yeah. Okay. So Planet Explorers, there's 3 modes. There's story mode, there's adventure mode, and then there's build mode. It's very similar to Minecraft in that kind of a, where you have in Minecraft you have a creative mode and then you have the survival mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have there's only 2 modes, right? What's so interesting about this game is the story mode is really kind of like a long drawn out tutorial and teaches you how to basically gather materials, build things, and just your whole purpose is to create your own colony. You hire NPCs to do work for you, do farming, whatever. Whatever you need done, you can hire a colony of people to do this for you. I'm talking single player here.
Okay.
I'm not talking about no multiplayer where you get your friends to do farming for you. This is all single player NPCs.
So wait, it's not a Farmville sequel?
No. You don't need Facebook. You do need MySpace. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man, ain't nobody got no MySpace anymore. Nobody has
They're
time for
back.
that.
No, but it's a cool little game. What can I say about it? Let's see. This is something unique. It's got an in-game editor, and this in-game editor allows you to buy parts off of some of the NPCs, like the gun grip, and then the gun muzzle, and you take those parts and you put them in this editor, and then you use it's almost like a paint shop where you use like a brush to create like the stock of the gun and all the different things for this weapon.
Oh, kind of like
and
Little Big Planet.
depending on and kind of the materials that you use make a big difference because they give it the strength or the attack power or whatever that you need to. Yeah, and you can create vehicles, you can create helicopters, flying, whatever. I mean, you can take a block of, say, iron, put a muzzle on one end and a hand grip on the other, and put it in game and use that as a gun. I mean, it would look stupid, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, you have that flexibility where you can build anything in any way you want. And I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen people completely duplicate real like in-game weapons and stuff from other games and create it within Planet Explorers, and it's just really cool. So you have that in-game editor, and their next alpha, I believe, is going to come out with a storyline editor. So now you'll be able to actually create your own quests and things. Now this has got a multiplayer mode. Multiplayer has not been their focus. The story mode's been their focus. So their multiplayer hasn't been a big focus. So what they've done is basically in the adventure mode, you can host it, so you can host your own game on your computer, so you can have your friends join you in your world, or you can go on an online server, or somebody's dedicated who's made a dedicated server or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you have those 3 options. And I've seen some servers. I've looked them up because I've been thinking about getting a server eventually. And I've seen servers have up to 200 people on a server.
Wow.
So, I mean, could you imagine? It's crazy. And so there's that multiplayer thing, and it's not, like I said, it's not working 100% like it usually like it should. So they're focusing on the story mode, but what they want to do is take that story mode, and they want to, you to be able to go into multiplayer with story mode too. So they're going to take some aspects of the story mode, put it into the multiplayer environment. But it's got all these different modes, and like I said, could you imagine having your own NPCs on your server, and people coming on, and they'll be able to go out and get quests and buy things from them and stuff.
See,
I mean, it's just the ultimate
tried
Minecraft.
that. Yeah, we've tried that with Minecraft, and the plugins that work like that. You can create an NPC. It'll give people quests. It'll do all those things. It'll buy things from people. It'll give people things. The problem with them is they take up a lot of hard drive space and just a lot of. It just makes the server kind of lag if you can't afford a really high-end server.
Right. Well, this will be a part of the game, so it's not going to be a mod or a plugin. And that's another thing they're thinking on allowing is mods eventually. Once it gets over. Right now it's in alpha. It's in late alpha. It's going to probably be going into beta. They were talking about skipping alpha altogether and just going into the final game. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen that way or not.
Skipping beta.
Yeah, skipping beta. Yeah, going from alpha straight into a full-blown final edition.
Yeah.
But and in the game being an alpha, you would look at this game and go, "Wow, this is already like fully developed. It's got everything that you need, really."
Yeah.
Story mode looks awesome. I've been playing story mode. I tried adventure mode. Adventure mode to me is you get all the recipes for everything. See, in story mode, you have to earn those recipes by doing quests, or you can buy them off of NPCs, and you get the recipes to create the things you need to create. In adventure mode, you get all the recipes, but you still have to get the minerals and all that stuff. And sometimes you end up in places where you can't find the minerals that you need, or the whatever, sometimes some of the plant life isn't there, and you got to walk miles and miles and miles to find this, and it's just tedious. So I'd rather play story mode. Yeah. And adventure mode is more. It looks more like it's more multiplayer friendly.
Huh.
And then the build mode obviously is like full blown creative. You get everything. There's no creatures. There's nothing in the game in the build mode. So all you do is you build.
Yeah.
Build your house. Build whatever. And the building is really unique. It's kind of like Second Life, where you start with a block. And then you can stretch that block, and you can, pull it in different places. You can make the block big or small as your starter thing, and then they got the already built in-game content like ladders and steps and chairs and all the different furniture.
Looked a little bit like The Sims when I saw it in a video. Like you kind of get that view, that angle, and you can place things and drag them and drop them and.
Right, but it's cool because like I said, you can create your own vehicles. Within story mode, they teach you that as you're going along through story mode, you have to, like, when you get so far into story mode, there's a point where one of the explorers, they crashed on top of a mountain, and you have to rescue them. And the only way to rescue them is you have to build this aircraft to fly up there to get them.
Yeah.
So they teach you how to do all that through the story mode. It's pretty cool.
So it sounds like a mix between Little Big Planet and Minecraft, which are both amazing games, and
Yeah,
do things
yeah.
like that.
Watch some videos on it. It's amazing. It's
we'll
worth
the
$24.99.
Yeah. Awesome game.
Now on their website there is a downloadable link for the game, but I think that you have to be a Kickstarter backer and you get some kind of key or whatever to put into the actual game client. I think I haven't tried it, but there is a downloadable link. If you want to go to their website and try it, I don't think it'll work. I think it's for Kickstarter backers, but it's a free link. You don't have to pay for it, from what I understand. Or it might even just be you download the client, but you have to actually purchase the game in order to get access to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, but it's there.
Yeah.
But
so
it's awesome though.
Definitely go check that out. It'll be linked in the show notes. And speaking of like servers and open world and things like that, I did want to point out real quick that if you're someone who plays or is thinking about playing on our Minecraft community server, you can hit up vortecvids.net for more info on that. We just put Mob Arena back, which is an awesome plugin. You can go in and fight waves of mobs, and our awesome staff set it up for everybody, and it's fully
so that
functional.
MCMMO, you can get all the skills you need.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's really cool. It's such a cool plugin. So I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to our Minecraft server. For more info on that, vortacvids.net. So
there you go.
There you go for that. And speaking of Minecraft, a quick little Minecraft snippet came out. Someone is making a shot-for-shot remake of the original Star Wars movie, and they're getting really close to completion.
And that's using Minecraft.
Using Minecraft. Shot-for-shot remake of Star Wars. They have a trailer for it. We'll link in the show notes, which is pretty cool to just show some of the awesome architecture and things like that. Like with Minecraft, you got to build your sets, which is for some people probably the most dreading part and some probably the most fun part, because the set design is probably what takes the longest, in my personal opinion.
So are we talking about the first Star Wars being actually the fourth Star Wars, or
the fourth?
First Star Wars,
the very first movie that ever came out, the fourth. A New Hope.
Which would be number 4, right?
Yeah.
A New Hope.
So
awesome!
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that one
because
I was
set
into
designs look amazing. The whole thing is awesome, and the weirdest thing, it's kind of cool, I guess, but it's also weird because it doesn't cost us anything. But they're turning off monetization when it comes out. Like, they don't want to make any money off of it, which, I mean, I don't think there's any shame in that. You've worked hard.
Wow, true.
Why not make a couple bucks? Yeah.
I think I know why.
Why is that?
Maybe George Lucas company might, or now it's Disney.
Yeah.
So they might have a problem. No monetization on that. That would be, yeah. That would be the only thing I can think of.
Call it Space Battles and,
Space Battles. A Star Wars parody. No, they can't. It's not really a parody if it's a shot for shot. But what would they call it? They'd have to. I'm sure they're going to call it something else anyway.
No, it's going to be Minecraft Star Wars or something, I'm sure. But if they don't monetize it, I don't think they can get in any trouble. They're not making anything off of it. But still a pretty cool concept. I'm excited for it. So that's going to be linked in the show notes as well. But other than that, we're about ready to wrap up, man.
All right.
So real quick shout out to Wildfire Radio. You can check out the podcast every Wednesday. This episode is going to air this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wildfire Radio. So big thanks to them for the support. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on iTunes and all of those places. So be sure to subscribe to us there. Leave us a rating on iTunes and Stitcher if you like. Help support the show in that way. Supporting the show is easy. It doesn't cost you a dime. Just type up a quick review. Tell everyone what you think of it. So
yeah,
definitely go check all those places out. And like I said, next week, if all goes according to plan, Jemmy's going to be here with me, and we're going to be doing the show a little bit differently. It should be fun. So
yeah,
Dreadlow will be the odd man out on that one.
Yeah.
But, yep, thank you, everybody, for checking out another episode of Everything Noob Podcast. We will see you next week. I am Vortac, signing off.
And Dreadlow.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Everything Noob podcast. Be sure to visit everythingnoob.com for previous episodes, show notes, host bios, and blogs. And while you're there, feel free to write us with any questions, comments, or suggestions you may have. Don't forget to check out the links to our Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch TV channel as well. On behalf of the noobs, see you next week, and happy gaming.